responsible for what people say on my channel that are not me.
Oh, ugly ass dude, you smell like dog. Dude's trying to get niggas off the sidewalk for no
fired
reason.
over here. They said one person is down with a gunshot wound to the chest.
He's a bum. And it's an uncle. It's an Uncle Tommy. Yeah, Uncle Tommy.
I operate in my neighborhood. I just didn't know where.
Push us back. Enough tape.
Blood sneaks. What? Are you solo? That's this foot. Got cover?
One of them actually said, "You want to get shot?" I got it on film. As you see, they put up the police line already.
Yep. At least they're not pushing us back.
There's Able up in the sky.
It's 3800 Euclid.
Covers up front.
They said some asshole that lived there 3 years ago was on full.
Can't even control his dog, man.
My phone over nuts. Hoping I'm getting that.
CPR.
I didn't get my workout today.
They got shot in the chest.
Sorry, officer.
Relax.
Alright, we're going out to the street. Remember the tent back to the street. All the way back.
Don't put your knee on his neck, man.
Yeah, definitely don't put your knee on his neck.
Why you touching my shit with no gloves going dirty ass? Oh, dirty ass. Dirty as fuck. Hey, how come
There was a shooting over here, shots fired. Some
bring some potato with me.
He died, huh?
He died
Again, there were shots fired over here. One person was shot in the chest. Medics just took him. They were doing CPR on him. They're clearing this house right now. Binoculars. And less
Nice
lethal.
Mossberg, though.
That's a less lethal.
Huh?
That's a less lethal shotgun. That's a lethal. They just think he's in there. Flat, flat.
See that guy come out with negotiations soon.
Come on,
And they're going to do call outs in a minute. They got the suspect's phone number. Sounds like they're going to try to call him and make contact with him. There were shots fired over here. At least 5 rounds were heard. They just pronounced the victim dead. Shots fired. One man was shot in the chest. Medics took him. They were giving him CPR on the way out. Suspect is believed to still be hunkered down over here in this apartment complex. We've got cops surrounded with lethal and less lethal, as well as canines on the front side and the alley side. They're trying to do call-outs right now. He's not responding. They tried to call his cell phone and it went straight to voicemail. And they just announced the suspect dead.
Yeah, this is going to be turning into a SWAT scene and a homicide scene, so we're going to need to have everybody move north for your safety, please. So, that way, please.
Are you going there and leaving?
No, I mean, thanks. Are you, you can be outside the tape. Are you going outside that tape or outside of that tape? Just know we may be explaining the scene, so.
We're pushing that tape farther side.
So once again, people, if you can move northward for me, we're going to be turning this into a larger crime scene. Would you live that way?
I live in this neighborhood.
Just go ahead and.
It's a difference. If they can go, I can go,
Well, I
right?
was told north.
Can I? Just let them go. what's in that bag, but looks like some serious equipment.
Gunman over here, so we need everybody out of the way because everybody here is in line of sight.
Looks like he's looking for roof access or something. Said he just opened a window up. He just shut the window. They're giving him commands. Making contact with them right now. Just walking downstairs. Telling him to put his hands up. God damn. They just shot him. They just shot him. Shots fired.
What the fuck?
Suspect is down.
It's a white nigga though. Eller. It's a white nigga. Was he white dude? Was he white?
I think someone died right now.
I think like shots fired up in this bitch, bro. What are you looking at?
They just shot him. Suspect is down.
Just shot him. Suspect is down. Suspect is down. Got a screenshot of that shit. So the squad's on the scene.
Please hurry up, please!
You're in a fucking neighborhood.
President. My name is Lieutenant Matt Dobbs, D-O-B-B-S, the San Diego Police Homicide Unit. Can you talk to us a little bit about what happened tonight? Just after 3:30 this afternoon, we received several 911 calls about a shooting here in the 3800 block of Euclid Avenue with one victim down. When the officers arrived on scene, they found a 62-year-old Hispanic male with sustained at least one gunshot wound. They were also given information about a nearby apartment where the suspect had potentially fled. The officers were very aware of this apartment and the person who lived there. They just received some officer safety information about him, which I'll get into a little bit later. The officers evacuated the injured male to an area where the paramedics could begin treating him. They transported him to a local hospital, where unfortunately he succumbed to his wounds and was pronounced deceased. The patrol officers began setting up a perimeter and gathering resources to deal with the barricaded murder suspect. As the situation developed, they realized that the circumstances were getting beyond the resources they had available to them. The assistance was requested of the SWAT team, who arrived on scene. As they were transitioning control of the scene from patrol to SWAT, the suspect emerged from his apartment and began walking down the stairs. As the officers began giving him directions to surrender, he refused to comply with their directions and actually challenged the officers to come get him. He eventually walked back into his apartment, where he returned a short time later and walked down the stairs as he concealed his right hand behind his legs. When the officers again gave him directions to surrender, the subject turned towards the officers and pointed a handgun that he had in his right hand at the officer's direction, prompting 3 of them to open fire. The suspect was struck by several rounds from the officers and collapsed on the stairs. STAR medics, which are paramedics that are trained with the SWAT team, were already on scene. They were escorted up to treat the male, but he was pronounced deceased here at the scene. Regarding the officer safety information that we had on this male, his mother had recently contacted the police about an incident within the last week where he had threatened her with a handgun, put a handgun in her face, and fired at least 3 rounds off inside the apartment. She fled for her safety, but did not originally report the incident to the police. When Mid-City Investigations became aware of this incident, they were obtaining the information to prepare an arrest warrant for the subject, as well as to obtain a gun violence restraining order. As with any officer-involved shooting, there will be a thorough investigation done by the Homicide Unit. When that investigation is complete, it will be turned over to the District Attorney's Office to see if the officers bear any criminal liability for their actions. The incident will also be monitored by the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. The Civilian Review Board will also be reviewing the investigation once it's complete, as well as the Internal Affairs Division. Are there any questions at this time?
Do we know how the 62-year-old male is related to the suspect?
There is no relation. He was actually a worker that was working on the adjoining vacant properties.
Do you know what led up to the shooting?
Between the suspect and the victim?
Correct.
No, there did not appear to be much in the way of confrontation.
How old was the suspect that ended up being killed?
He was a 32-year-old Asian male.
Did you guys recover his weapon, a weapon?
Yes, a firearm was located on the stairs where he was shot, as well as a knife.
Was it loaded?
We have not checked the weapon at this time. That'll be part of the processing of the scene.
Did he have any priors? Was he a convicted felon, or was he allowed to have that gun?
The gun was not registered to him that we know, although that will all be part of the investigation.
Can you identify him?
We're not releasing his name at this time because I don't believe that his family has been notified.
When you say that you had prior knowledge of him, were there calls made, 911 calls? What's the knowledge you had to that apartment?
Most of it comes from the information that was given to us by his mother in the events in the past week. There have been several calls here in the past involving this male.
Was the mother home during all of this?
No, she was not. She has not returned home since the incident where the gun was fired at the apartment.
Who called 911 today?
I believe there were some nearby neighbors as well as some of the other people that were working with the victim.
Is the worker that was working on the vacant property the city worker? Do we know who he's working for, what he was doing?
He was working for the property management company.
Just an innocent worker?
Yes.
Was there anything that indicated why a guy was set off today? Is it mental issues?
Not sure what the trigger was today, but he does have a history of mental issues.
Was there any point of negotiation? Like, did you guys ever have a conversation with him?
When the patrol officers were establishing the perimeter and trying to get him to surrender, there were several call-outs made to the apartment on Bullhorn trying to get him to come out. He did not comply with those until the 2 incidents that preceded the shooting.
The 3 officers who fired their weapons, are they placed on leave at all during the investigation?
Yes, they'll be on administrative leave pending the initial stages of the investigation. One more question.
Did you say that there were 3 SWAT officers that fired?
There were 2 officers that were SWAT officers and 1 K-9 officer.
Was there anybody else in the apartment besides the suspect?
I'm sorry?
Was there anybody else in the apartment?
Besides the suspect?
Yes.
No.
And when did you guys find out about the incident with the mom and the 3 guns, or the 3 gunshots in the apartment?
It was, I don't know the exact date, but it was in the last day or 2. I think.
So
We're
you
still
kinda had your
waiting to
eye
get
on
that
it.
information from the investigator.
He lives there?
Yes, he does. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.